Alright, so our main character literally just transmigrated into a sweet romance novel with a pseudo-sibling trope.
Too bad he's the villainous second lead. But trust me, he's got zero plans to be evil.
So he decides to secure her loyalty while she's still a kid. I mean, anyone can be her big brother, right?
Now, the future female lead, Nangong Li, wasn't some cute, picture-perfect angel back then. Instead, she was just a pitiful village kid, neglected by her dad and abandoned by her mom.
There were no pretty princess dresses, no fancy leather shoes.
Just oversized, baggy clothes and her bare feet walking on the dirt all day. She was completely filthy and wearing rags, with dark smudges all over her face. And even her cheeks were caked with dried, dirty snot that had already turned black. Her hair was so dirty, it was completely clumped together. Picture those heartbreaking charity ads on TV. Those poor, neglected kids left behind in rural areas. She was exactly like that.
When our guy first woke up in this body, his grandpa had just bought him a little cake.
The original host used it to show off and tease the female lead, so she threw a rock and hit him in the head. The cake was completely ruined, since the original kid was the family's deeply spoiled grandson. He'd been pampered his whole life, so this instantly sparked a massive lifelong grudge.
From then on, he went out of his way to torment her every time they met, desperate for revenge.
Eventually, the female lead goes to college and ends up shining brighter than anyone. But our villain still tried to chase her, constantly trying to ruin her relationship with the main lead. He kept trying to ruin everything until they finally gathered enough evidence to throw him behind bars. He got taken out in prison. Our MC rubs his bruised head. Alright, the swelling isn't too bad. At least the bump is small, but just a few feet away, that little wolf of a girl is glaring at him. She's glaring at him with pure hatred, looking ready to pounce and snatch his things at any second. Like, seriously? This girl's hostile attitude practically begs for a beating. Like, how is this even bullying? But whatever, she's only 6. Besides, his 22-year-old soul is practically old enough to be her dad, and his physical body is 10. He's not about to argue with a kid, so he quietly picks the dropped cake up off the ground. The frosting is a lost cause, but the golden sponge cake underneath is still perfectly fine. He brushes off the dirty spots and places the clean cake on top of the courtyard wall. It's pretty low, only about 1 meter. Standing a head taller than the wall, our MC calls out to her. He taps the cake, then immediately turns around to go inside because she's just too dirty. He really doesn't want any direct contact, so he hides inside to peek through the window. Nangong Li obviously didn't expect this twist. Her fierce eyes widen in disbelief for a moment. Then she lunges like a wild animal, grabs the cake, and bolts. Later, she starts lingering near his gate again. Our MC quickly scoops their leftover rice and dishes into a large bowl. He sets it on the wall without saying a single word to her. Then he heads right back inside. Honestly, he really doesn't care. Part of him even wants to be like the original host, chasing her away with rocks or sticks. It's low-key creepy because those dark, intense eyes of hers just glare at him like she's plotting something. She constantly looks up to no good. One day, his grandmother asks him why he stopped chasing her away. He scratches his head, scrambling for a quick excuse. He starts reciting all those righteous lessons about how we should always help people in need. Besides, Grandma, didn't you mention that her dad is a drunk who completely ignores her? And her own mother ran away too. She's just so pitiful, you know? His grandmother lovingly pats his head, praising him for finally growing up and being so mature. Growing up? Basically, our guy just wants to build some survival goodwill. Hoping this food favor makes her completely overlook him when she's OP. Suddenly, a sharp, incredibly loud shattering noise echoes right through the courtyard. Our MC is in the middle of homework and gets absolutely startled. The bowl he previously left on the wall just smashed 2 meters away. He grips his pen so tight, low-key wishing it was her actual head. Seriously, this is already the 4th bowl. The first one never returned. The second vanished, and the third ended up broken in a drainage ditch. Great! The 4th shattered in the yard, completing the ultimate tragic cycle. Meanwhile, she is already long gone, so he places another bowl outside. But this time, he leaves a green candy wrapped in clear plastic. You can see the round treat inside. Then he grabs a long bamboo stick. Hiding behind the thick evergreens, he feels like a kid setting a trap. Honestly, he is so excited, just waiting in ambush for her arrival. He is fully ready to deliver some instant justice and teach her a lesson. She thinks these bowls grow on trees. He gets absolutely eaten by mosquitoes. Finally, he spots Nangong Li limping over, and his brows instantly furrow. Wait, she was running so fast earlier. How is she limping already? As she gets closer, even the dirt cannot hide the bloody forehead bruise. Seeing the candy, her tiny body freezes, her face filled with complete shock. She stares for ages before slowly reaching out, treating it like absolute treasure. Bro, this is low-key heartbreaking. The future female lead was so pitiful. She did not even have a single piece of candy. Seeing her leave,
He quickly steps out to stop her, startling Nangong Li half to death.
she jumps back in sheer panic, her dark eyes filled with absolute terror. Staring wide-eyed. Honestly, her extreme reaction completely catches our guy off guard. Hey, do not break my bowls anymore. Just put them back, got it? He drags his bamboo stick right past her, while she stands completely frozen. He pauses, reaches into his pocket, and pulls out the remaining candy. He hands them over, leaving her standing there in a total daze. She suddenly turns and runs, hobbling and swaying on her bare feet, stepping directly onto the gravel road, as if she cannot even feel pain. He genuinely worries that she might collapse on the ground at any second. Thankfully, she does not. He looks down at his palm, seeing the remaining sweets. The wrappers are incredibly bright and colorful. He squeezes them, resolving to give her more later, then heads inside before dinner. Overhearing the village gossip, he learns Nangong Li got beaten by her drunk father. He immediately pictures her bleeding forehead and that painful limping walk. And those hidden bruises on her arms when she reached for the sweets? At this point, eating this dinner feels so heavy, like he is feeding a stray. Like right now, he taps a small metal bowl with chopsticks. Why the metal bowl? Simply to protect his ceramic bowls. Right on cue, Nangong Li appears. Standing a short distance away, her dark, clear eyes locked onto him, shining bright against her messy face, filled with caution but also hope. That look completely melts his heart, so he quietly places another sweet on her bowl. Her boy just nods as a greeting and heads back inside. Honestly, he actually wondered if he should adopt a childhood sweetheart route while she's still young. Like, who cares about being an adoptive older brother, right? But he quickly drops that wild idea. He is not crazy, okay? His parents are just running a small business in the city. Right now, he lives with his grandparents in a village near town, planning to move to the city for middle school. Meanwhile, Nangong Li, who is 3 years younger, just started elementary school this term. Apparently, it only happened because a teacher was on a mission to bring dropouts back to school. They discovered a school-aged child who had not enrolled yet and went straight to her house. That is how her deadbeat dad was forced to send her. He literally did not want her studying because she is a girl. During the 7-day holiday, our MC basically fed her for a whole week. Even though it was mostly just leftovers, it was still warm, fresh, and actually nutritious. She went from smashing his bowls to just throwing the aluminum basin and chopsticks back into his yard. And now she actually washes the basin and chopsticks and neatly puts them back in their place. So you could say she is pretty grateful. Well, except for the bottom of that metal basin. If you ignore all the massive dents she bashed into the sides. Yeah, grateful my foot. Then, this brat literally steals his breakfast, just as the shop owner hands a bun over. Right when he reaches out to take it, she snatches the bun and bolts out of sight. He stares at the owner stares back, and she definitely is not giving out freebies. So our MC silently pulls out another coin to buy himself a plain steamed bun instead. A bun is 70 cents. Out of the 2 yuan his grandma gave him, only 30 cents is left. That extra coin was supposed to buy a pen. Back in class, he has to collect homework and lead morning reading. But the boys are ignoring him completely, no matter how much he yells at them to behave. All the lingering anger from having his bun stolen finally finds a perfect target. He slams his textbook down on the podium with a massive thud, letting out all his adult rage. The classroom instantly goes dead silent as every single kid turns around in pure shock. He gives a freezing glare to the rowdy group of boys who are making a scene. Listen up, you little punks. You are here to read in the morning. Not to fool around. Get back to your seats right now.
Maybe his 20-something adult aura actually worked because these 10-year-old kids look highly annoyed but completely shut up.
They quietly head back to their seats. Soon, the sound of loud reading fills the room.
Looking down at all these naive fourth graders, he honestly feels like he is living in a total dream.
Think about it. A 22-year-old adult is now stuck as a simple fourth grade kid. To top it off, he is the class monitor and even has to lead the morning exercises.
Talk about a main character moment. Thankfully, he has the original kid's memories. Otherwise, he would have totally embarrassed himself. Standing up high, he gets a perfect view of the yard.
Over by the stage, a dirty first grader who looks like she literally crawled out of a trash pile is getting scolded by a teacher.
She stands stiffly, staring at the ground, nervously rubbing her left foot against her right.
She looks completely stubborn. Honestly, watching her is just frustrating. Soon, it is lunchtime at school. The free national school lunch is barely edible, just enough to keep a kid alive.
It is definitely not delicious, but Nangong Li can easily devour 3 entire bowls. She shovels food down like a starving ghost, completely stuffing her mouth full and barely chewing before swallowing it.
Watching her choke it down like that, it really hits him hard. Back in his previous life, the girls around him were deeply pampered. Every single one of them was treated like royalty. Later, he locks up after sweeping the classroom.
He places the key on the teacher's windowsill, but as he heads downstairs, some older boys suddenly block his path.
The bullies rush past our MC, carrying Nangong Li. He just stands there frozen for a second. Sighing, he turns back upstairs to knock on the 6th grade teacher's door. Consider it a good deed. While the teacher panics, our MC feels completely numb.
She won't die anyway, but when they finally find her, Nangong Li is thrown in a muddy field.
She is absolutely soaked, covered in thick black mud from head to toe.
Only her freezing, borderline insane eyes stare back. The field is massive, but barely has any water.
Dark mud peeks through the shallow water beside the green crop leaves.
She sits curled up in a corner, looking incredibly small and lonely.
The MC feels a sudden pang of guilt. In the original plot, the host just ignored this. He would have even mocked her, splashing water and throwing mud to torture her.
Just pure cruelty before leaving. But this time, our MC walks right up to the edge. He extends his hand, telling her to come over, but she refuses to budge from the mud. Her eyes are piercingly cold, a look that should have been innocent and bright.
Instead, they are filled with a dark rage, like she wants to drag her enemies to hell.
After a brief hesitation, he reaches into his pocket and offers her some candy. Her eyes slowly shift toward the candy, her dark pupils shrinking in disbelief. A tiny hint of vulnerability slips through. He nudges the sweet closer, telling her to come. It takes her a while, but she finally tries to stand. The heavy mud clings to her. It drags her tiny body down, forcing her to crawl. She struggles up, falls, and struggles again. Over and over until she finally reaches him. Her hand is completely caked in thick black mud. You can't even see her skin color. As she reaches out, our MC pulls the candy back.
He grabs her tiny hand to wash it in the water instead. It is incredibly thin and bony. It honestly makes his chest tighten up. He just quietly tells her to wash off the mud first. Meanwhile, the teacher is frowning, looking like this whole situation is just a massive nuisance.
He literally tells the MC to just take her home. But our MC is like, wait a minute, teacher. You need to handle this. Nangong Li's dad is the village's notorious alcoholic. If she goes home like this, he will beat her. So they call the bully's parents instead. The parents are forced to clean Nangong Li up, dressing her in someone's old hand-me-downs. And just like that, our MC finally gets a good look at the future female lead. She has this delicate oval face, huge eyes, and surprisingly pale skin. Honestly, except for being a bit too thin, she is gorgeous. Truly female lead material.
She quietly tags along behind him, wearing a massive, worn-out backpack that isn't even hers. It is so huge that the bottom of the bag literally bangs against her knees.
The books inside are just random old textbooks from some older 6th grader. Her actual backpack was a total wreck, pitch black with a broken strap tied in a knot.
The zipper was completely broken, leaving it gaping wide open like a monster.
Probably salvaged from some trash pile, and today it finally died in that muddy field. Our MC turns around
and she instantly stops, staring back at him with that icy gaze. He tells her straight up that he did not appreciate her stealing his breakfast bun this morning. If she tries it again, he will definitely throw hands. She just glares back at him fiercely. Then she suddenly bolts forward. Our MC yells after her, throwing something. She halts, spins right back around, snatches the candy from his hand, and runs off again. What a little brat, he mutters. Later at home, his grandma asks about her.
She wonders why that girl hasn't visited in days. Our MC just shrugs, claiming he has no idea.
Maybe his threats made her hold a grudge. Even banging on his bowl won't bring her back now. The food left on the wall is completely ignored and covered in flies. Or maybe she just eats at school to barely get by. Since she doesn't touch his food, the MC decides to give it 2 more days before stopping. Let's be real. The female lead being unhinged didn't just happen overnight.
She has always been crazy. She literally wrung a cat's neck right in front of him.
A motorcycle was flying down the village road at crazy speeds. That tiny kitten couldn't dodge in time, getting run over and spitting blood. Limbs twitching. Not even a sound.
It was clearly dying, and Nangong Li was standing right there. She witnessed the whole thing with the MC just a few meters behind her.
Standing there for a moment, she slowly walked over to pick it up by its ears. Twitching, but barely. The MC thought she was going to move it to the grass or comfort it. Nah, he was dead wrong. She grabbed the cat's head with one hand, using her other hand to snap its neck instantly, sending a chill down his spine. His hair stood on end as his entire scalp went numb. He took a step back, and she slowly turned to look at him. Her eyes were dead, devoid of any warmth or human emotion. Like a demon or an emotionless god, she stood still, and he was too terrified to move. The cold autumn wind froze him in place until another motorcycle roared past. Hearing distant laughter of other kids finally brought him back to reality. Cradling the lifeless kitten, she walked down a side path, and he hesitated before following her. Low-key terrified she might cook it. She went to the woods, dug a hole with branches, and buried it. Covering the grave with dead leaves, he stared at her small back. Suddenly, he understood her brutal motive, rather than letting it suffer. It was better to end it quickly. Short pain is better than long agony. But she was only 7. Insane. What kind of life did she live to become this ruthless so young? He grabbed a lunchbox. It was the one his grandma bought him back in 3rd grade when he was sick. He offered it to Nangong Li for her school lunches, telling her to ask the teacher for refills, but she just stared back.
Eyes clear, yet freezing cold.
Like freezing water in a dead pond, cold and lifeless, so he raised his voice.
She slowly stood up.
He leaned over her shoulder, unzipped her bag, and stuffed the lunchbox inside. She smelled sour, and he wrinkled his nose, thinking girls should be clean. Washing her clothes was a must, but did she even have any? Filthy hands, he sighed. He told her to wash up in the morning and come home with him.
Afterwards, he asked his grandparents to find some of his old childhood clothes.
Put a wash basin outside, showing her how to soak, count to 100, and stomp on them. She scrubs the clothes by hand again, wringing them dry and rinsing them 3 times. The main character asks if she knows how to hang them up now. Nangong Li nods as the grandparents call for dinner. Nangong Li refuses to join, so the main character packs some rice and side dishes in a small aluminum basin for her. She takes the basin, squatting by the door to gobble it down. What a poor little brat. They say some people spend their whole lives healing their childhood. Honestly, Nangong Li's tragic childhood is low-key heartbreaking. It might take her several lifetimes to recover from this. To make things worse, her family is desperately poor. Her deadbeat dad just takes their tiny government subsidy and spends it all on drinking and gambling, leaving her to starve. As long as that trash father is full, he does not care about her at all. Totally neglected, a hungry Nangong Li has to scavenge around just to find scraps of food to eat. If she cannot find anything, she resorts to stealing, and if she gets caught, they drag her right back to her father. Her dad would immediately beat and kick her without a second thought. Keep in mind, she is just a little girl. Actually, it is precisely because she is a girl. Right now, our main character is leaning against the school hallway wall.
listening to the violent thuds echoing down the hall. Honestly, if you did not know any better,
You would think someone was just using a hanger to beat a dusty quilt on a sunny day to make it fluffier.
But no, this monster is beating his own child. Nangong Li is just a tiny, helpless kid. Yet her father is throwing heavy punches, slapping her and kicking her without showing a single shred of mercy. Every single blow landing on her fragile body strikes a deep, painful chord in our main character's heart. The school toilets are not on each floor but are located all the way out by the playground edge. As the main character walks downstairs to use the restroom, she witnesses Nangong Li getting kicked right through the air. She flies from the classroom door straight against the concrete balcony wall, looking just like a discarded rag doll thrown from a window. She curls up there, completely powerless to fight back, and honestly, she does not even want to try anymore. The main character quickly hides back behind the wall. She does not want Nangong Li to see her witnessing this humiliation. A teacher tries to stop the drunkard, but the father yells back that thieves deserve to be beaten like this.
He claims that only pain will teach her. But what did she actually steal? Just some hangers.
And some laundry powder. Our main character told her to wash her clothes, and she obediently did it.
But the heartbreaking truth is, her house had absolutely no soap or hangers to begin with. The main character clenches her fists so hard her nails dig into her palms. The pain keeps her grounded. She cannot just rush out and fight that scumbag father, so as he heads toward the stairs to leave, the main character spots him. She suddenly charges forward and slams straight into his back. The foul stench of alcohol almost makes her gag as they both crash hard onto the floor. She scrambles up quickly, bowing her head in a panic, and gasps, "Oh, it is Uncle Nangong." "I am so sorry, Uncle Nangong," she stammers. "I really did not mean to do that. I was just rushing to the restroom and did not look where I was going. I am so sorry." The man grunts at her to go, and she quickly thanks him before slipping away. After running off, school finally ends. The moment our main character gets back home, she gets to work. She sorts through all the hangers in her house, picking out the bent and slightly worn out ones. Then she pours half a bag of laundry detergent into an empty water bottle and sets it on the wall. She taps on the aluminum basin to make a sound, and sure enough, Nangong Li peeks out from nearby. The main character gestures for her to take the supplies, and she slowly, hesitantly shuffles over. Her hair actually looks washed now, even though it is still dry and yellowed from severe malnutrition. But she looks fresh, wearing a clean, oversized boy's sweatshirt. It has an Ultraman design printed on the chest, and the sour smell is finally gone. Still, some spots are missed. Our main character gently taps the side of Nangong Li's ears. "Remember to wash your neck and behind your ears when you take a bath," she reminds her. Handing her a piece of candy, our main character softly asks if her body still hurts. The kid's hand freezes on the candy before he shakes his head and grips it tight. Looking down with lowered eyes, this kid is not being stubborn. This is a low-key, heartbreaking struggle to survive. RMC can't help but pat his head. Her voice completely softens as she promises him that everything will absolutely get better. She says his birth mother is coming for him, and his new stepdad will treat him well. He will even have a caring stepbrother, and yes, he will eventually fall in love with him. No matter how early our female lead wakes up, her grandma is already awake. Breakfast is ready. Grandma tells her to eat first. She can read for a bit after eating while packing her school bag. Suddenly, her grandma hands over a plastic bag with 2 warm, dusty-looking roasted sweet potatoes inside. They were roasted in the stove ash last night, so our girl calls Nangong Li over. She reminds him to say thank you. He just stays quiet. Grandma gently pats his head, saying it is fine since they are just cheap sweet potatoes. She wants him to eat well for school, though our MC did not expect much from him. But as she pulls his sleeve to leave, a tiny thank you makes her think she is hallucinating. Praising him, she leads him to school, heading to the 2nd floor while he goes to the 1st. Recess break starts. Soon, she finds him standing by his classroom door again. His teacher is scolding him pretty harshly, demanding to know why he did not do his homework. He just stands there like a silent post while the teacher warns him to complete it. The threat of calling his father usually works, but Nangong Li shows zero emotion. Our MC has no interest in interfering. She stays out of it. There is no system window or regression quest forcing her hand, but honestly, our girl is just too kind-hearted. She decides to at least teach him to survive, and when her grandma plants cabbage,
She taps an aluminum basin with chopsticks to call Nangong Li over, forcing him to learn how to plant the crops.
She tells him to learn this well so he can grow food and support himself. That way he won't steal food. The kid watches her with total focus. She serves him a bowl of rice and slips a small bag of cabbage seeds right into the pocket of his favorite Superman jacket, telling him to take them home and plant them. She tells him to ask if he gets confused. As he walks away, she shouts for him to remember his homework. Now, they have a silent understanding. Every morning, he quietly stops by her house for a quick breakfast, then follows right behind her to school. After school, he always waits patiently to follow her back home, even as classmates start teasing her about having a permanent little shadow. She ignores them entirely, but other kids mock him for being a copycat. He does not care at all, but then someone throws mud at him. Nangong Li literally goes feral, instantly tackling a classmate twice his size and pinning him to the ground. Our girl struggles to pull him away and scolds him, but he says her clothes cannot get dirty. She gently brushes the mud off his jacket, telling him that dirty clothes can easily be washed. But if he gets hurt, it will pain him. This wholesome sibling protective dynamic is honestly top tier and so sweet. To protect him from older bullies, she has him do his homework by the teacher's office. School ends and she picks him up. Soon, the sweet potato harvest season arrives. Our MC is busy helping her grandparents in the fields as they dig them up. Her job is to shake off the thick dirt and rip away the roots. Suddenly, she spots Nangong Li standing far away, watching them with a cold and completely blank stare. Our MC immediately gets an idea, telling her grandparents she will be right back while grabbing a small sack. She takes it to Nangong Li, telling him to bring the sack and meet her in a bit. Seeing Xiaoqi leave, Nangong Li immediately follows her. Xiaoqi gently pushes her back, holds her shoulders, and tells her to stay put. Count to 100 before you come over, and bring a sack, you hear me? When her grandparents ask where she went, Xiaoqi tells them she saw Nangong Li.
She claims she sent the kid back to grab a sack to help sort sweet potatoes.
Her grandparents agree, and soon tiny Nangong Li returns carrying a small sack. She holds the sack so properly, even though it literally blocks most of her tiny body. This is low-key heartbreaking to watch, and Xiaoqi feels a pang of sadness because the kid probably thinks the task given to her is extremely important, which is why she's standing so formally. Xiaoqi calls out loudly, telling everyone that Ali is here to help them. Once they are done, she tells her to take some sweet potatoes home, and her grandparents quickly agree. Grandpa warmly tells the little lass to hurry up, promising to help carry them home later. Nangong Li doesn't fully understand, but maybe. This is the first time she has ever received genuine kindness, not just look-down charity. Or disgusted dismissal. She just stares silently at Xiaoqi. Xiaoqi shouts back, telling her to hurry before it gets too dark. The little girl works incredibly hard, moving super fast. She is so meticulous, but seeing her tiny frame crouching in the dirt is painful. Sometime later, the cabbage sprouts, turning the whole garden a vibrant green. Nangong Li copies the neighbors, collecting wooden sticks to fence off her little vegetable patch. She wants to keep the stray chickens and ducks out. A few days ago, she watched Uncle Hua plant cauliflower. Uncle Hua gave her some seedlings, and now Xiaoqi's grandma sent her with radish sprouts too. She even brought cabbage seedlings, praising how well Nangong Li's cabbages are growing. Xiaoqi walks around the little plot, genuinely amazed by the sight. Honestly, this future female lead's green thumb is a literal cheat code. She can grow anything. Nangong Li immediately tries to step into the patch to harvest some. Xiaoqi quickly pulls her back and hands over the new seedlings instead. She tells her to plant them soon, but the little girl hesitates, looking quite conflicted. She looks like she has something on her mind, so Xiaoqi rests her hands on her knees. Squatting down to ask how many sweet potatoes she has harvested. 3 big sacks, she replies. Xiaoqi promises to bring 10 jin of rice soon, hoping other villagers will follow her lead. She tells the kid to clean up her house and find a safe spot to store the rice. The girl nods gently, then suddenly spins around and runs back into her house. She yells back that she's getting some water. This poor 6-year-old child is already learning to act like a mature adult. It's incredibly bittersweet to watch. Xiaoqi's heart feels heavy. Soon the girl carefully carries out a small porcelain bowl. The bowl is perfectly clean, and the water inside is crystal clear. Fidgeting with her fingers, she softly explains that she thoroughly washed both the bowl and water jar.
Xiaozi gently ruffles her fluffy hair as encouragement, telling her she did an amazing job.
It turns out the little girl only explained because Xiaozi was holding the water without drinking. Xiaozi takes a sip and hands the bowl back to her. She reminds the kid to boil her water during winter so she doesn't catch a cold.
Xiaoqi is here!
Suddenly, a man stumbles out of the doorway.
He looks incredibly filthy and sketchy. Before Xiaozi can even react,
Tiny Nangong Li immediately spins around, spreading her small arms to shield her protector.
seeing Uncle Nangong stand there like a protector completely shocked our MC.
He was so weak, so absolutely terrified. Yet Uncle Nangong was still so brave.
He says his grandma sent over some seedlings and leaves. Our MC pats Nangong Li's shoulder, telling her to be careful.
Right after, Nangong Li's teacher calls him into the office. The teacher wants him to discipline her, which completely shocks him.
He straight up says he is not her guardian or obligated to listen. The teacher freezes, asking if he wants to help change her. Our MC replies that wanting her to improve is just the teacher's job. But those expectations do not apply to him since they are not family. He is literally just an older kid from her village. Walking out, he finds Nangong Li looking like a discarded puppy.
She is incredibly frustrated, clenching her tiny fists.
She glares at him, so he smacks her on the head. He reminds her that being nice does not make him her mother. Some things are not his business, so he walks away. Like, why was she mad? He is the one getting lectured. Getting blamed for her bad behavior made him absolutely lose it. He marches back, slaps her back, and demands why she fought. Throwing a kid against a wall is way too brutal.
If her dad finds out, she is going to get wrecked.
He tells her to apologize immediately or they are done talking. Nangong Li shoots right back into the office like a cannonball. She drops to her knees before the boy and yells sorry. This completely terrifies both the teacher and the crying boy.
He just stares, forgetting to cry, making our MC feel terrible.
Does this poor girl think apologizing literally means kneeling down? On the walk home, he gives her a major life lesson.
Apologies are about owning up and sincerely saying sorry.
And you have to actually change, or the words mean nothing.
He explains that kneeling is only for the most critical moments.
While he keeps rambling on about life rules,
the girl just smiles, her eyes sparkling like little crescents.
Honestly, who gets this happy over a lecture? It is adorable. Fast forward to finals, and our MC stumbles upon something wild. She got an 18 on her Chinese test, which is crazy. The future genius female lead getting an 18 is honestly hilarious. The novel only ever showed her adult life, skipping her childhood. So there was no way to know she was once this bad.
He looks from the crumpled paper to her doing her homework.
Nangong Li secretly peeks at him, trying to hide something else. She hesitates, slowly dragging her feet.
Then she pulls another crumpled paper out of her bag.
83% in math? Okay, that is actually not terrible.
He's only struggling with some subjects, and finals are just 2 weeks away.
Cramming won't help now, so she just helps him organize his school bag. She tells him to spend his weekend studying at her place.
He needs to redo all his old test papers, and she will explain whatever he gets stuck on.
Honestly, she expected a simple tutoring patch-up job, but this is an absolute nightmare.
He doesn't get this, he doesn't know that, nothing makes sense to him.
Talk about the ultimate pain of being a teacher. Yeah, finals are a lost cause. They will have to cram during winter break. After exams, she makes him bring his textbooks. She gets both math and literature books and starts explaining everything from the absolute beginning. Her grandparents are happily teasing that our girl Xiaoqi is a real teacher now. Honestly, it is not that simple. This student is built different, and not in a good way. Take this basic poetry question. Our main character is literally dying inside because the question simply asks for the poet and his dynasty. The poet is Li Shen from the Tang dynasty. Nangong Li confidently starts writing. She watches in absolute disbelief as he writes Li Shen Tang in the blank space. Boiling with rage, she takes her pen and circles the word Tang.
This is the dynasty, she tells him. It goes in the first blank.
Then she circles Li Shen. This is the actual name of the poet.
The poet is the guy who wrote the poem, so put that in the second blank. Nangong Li quickly erases his mistake and prepares to write again. He carefully writes the name of the poet, followed by the actual first line of the poem. Someone save her.
No shot. Honestly, I would have lost my mind right then and there.
Because of this disaster, she bans him from tutoring for 2 days. He does not deserve her time.
The exam results finally drop. Xiaoqi scores 98 in literature.
She gets a perfect 100 in math and 99 in English. Meanwhile, Nangong Li gets 45 in literature and 85 in math. Gritting her teeth, our girl musters up the courage to resume tutoring duty. Maybe his brain finally unlocked because out of nowhere, Nangong Li starts learning incredibly fast.
Except for occasional literature roadblocks, he pretty much masters every single lesson instantly.
Her parents return to take her to the city, also bringing all the custom workbooks she requested.
Equipped with dictionaries and copybooks, she leaves him tons of winter break homework.
That will definitely keep his winter break busy. As she departs, he stares at her with puppy dog eyes. His big eyes are full of sadness, so she gently pats his head and promises to return soon.
She promises to bring back a whole box of candy and toys once he finishes all those worksheets.
Honestly, she did not even want to go, but the original soul always visited her parents during breaks.
She has to play along and keep up appearances by spending some quality time with them. When she finally returns, she brings Nangong Li some firecrackers and spinning tops.
She even buys him a brand new pair of shoes using her own allowance.
Plus some reward money from her parents, emphasizing it so he always remembers how kind she was to him.
That way when they meet again in the future, they can laugh instead of him wanting to kill her.
He holds the shoebox in absolute silence for a long moment, making her lean in to check on him.
Nangong Li's eyes are completely red, with heavy tears threatening to spill over.
Even his nose is bright red. Honestly, guys, seeing him like this is low-key heartbreaking. A lump forms in her throat seeing him like this, so she reaches out to gently pat his head. She runs her fingers through his clean hair, which is now shiny and soft. It is super soft. But without a proper comb, it looks pretty messy. Looks like she needs to teach him how to style it next.
The MC wishes Nangong Li a happy new year. The poor kid bites his lip for ages before looking up. Huge, crystal-clear tears start rolling down his bright red eyes. Seriously, this poor kid is such a sweet soul.
He softly thanks his brother and wishes him a happy new year. If colors could actually describe how our MC feels right now, his mind would be a total complicated mess. Just a chaotic white canvas splashed with every single color imaginable. He feels so bad for the kid's tragic life, and seeing those tears makes the vibe incredibly heavy and sad. But he is also proud of how independent the kid has become, and hearing him say big brother is just so heartwarming. Nangong Li's dad stays sober for 1 day during the holidays to cook and decorate. He pays respects, lights firecrackers, then gets wasted again. At this point, the MC takes Nangong Li and his little cousin to hang out with the local village kids. Carrying red lanterns, they go house to house, wishing everyone well, and returning home. Their pockets are literally stuffed to the brim with tasty treats and some loose New Year money. Our MC doesn't keep a thing, stuffing all the treats straight into Nangong Li's pockets. Go have an awesome holiday, he says, gently pushing the boy to head home before it gets dark. He tells him to remember to wear his brand new shoes tomorrow to kick off a great new journey. Nangong Li slowly walks away, looking back, while the MC leads his cousin home. His little cousin is only 4, and she stares up with big, round eyes to ask a question. Since you don't let me call you older sister, she asks, what should I call you then? Our MC jokingly threatens to smack the brat for bringing that up on New Year. On New Year's Day, Nangong Li doesn't even wear his new shoes, saying he's too scared of ruining them. A whole semester passes, and his daily footwear just goes from one beat-up pair to another. He never wears the new ones, even once, but his grades, straight aces across the board this term. The kid is so proud of himself, and honestly, the MC's hard work tutoring him on their daily walks paid off.
After countless weekends of math lessons and poetry recitals, the boy has also grown quite a bit taller.
By 2nd grade, he even becomes class president, completely changing his entire vibe. He has become the perfect picture of an independent, hardworking student, even in his old clothes and worn-out shoes. But everything he wears is spotless, and he always sports a high, neat ponytail. He walks with his back straight, looking forward with a calm and serious expression on his face. He carries himself with absolute dignity, showing the proud spirit of a resilient kid who refuses to give up.
Honestly, he looks exactly like the kind of inspirational role model featured in a public service ad.
And why wouldn't he? Because he grows his own food just to survive.
He takes on odd jobs for food while making sure he stays at the top of his class. The kind neighbors always offer him small chores to do around their homes. In return, they give him rice, flour, and fresh vegetables, carefully protecting his pride in the process.
This keeps his daily life going, letting him survive with his head held high.
As long as he can avoid his dad, things are fine, and as he grows, he gets much faster at escaping.
He can dodge most of the abuse now, and even if he gets hit, he quickly finds a way to break free.
When he runs to the MC's house, our MC gently cleans his cuts with medicine. End of term. He brings home his report card, and the MC proudly spins him around a few times. The MC jokes that this isn't just the kid's award, it's a massive win for his tutoring skills.
He usually fails practice tests, but absolutely clutches the final exams when it counts. When the MC asks him why his daily scores are so low, Nangong Li says his school teacher is too confusing. Big Brother makes it click. Turns out our MC has a real gift for teaching. By the time 3rd grade rolls around, Nangong Li's school teacher runs into our MC. She mentions that Nangong Li wrote a beautiful school essay, and the title is My Big Brother.
The teacher says he knew immediately the essay was about Nangong Li, and he was deeply moved.
Nangong Li actually burst into tears. The teacher originally planned to read it to the whole class, but she suddenly rushed up to the podium, begging him not to read it out loud. So he had to stop, but man, he couldn't stop praising our MC after that. He called her incredibly kind and helpful, saying she definitely has a bright future ahead. He even said he learned from her that saving someone isn't just pulling them out of the mud. You also have to show them how to wash clean and how to never fall back in. Now, everyone was praising our MC, her own teacher, other classes' teachers, you name it. Even the principal joined in, all because of this one powerful essay. By 6th grade, she was named a top model student specifically for her dedication to helping others. She literally helped younger students escape the dark shadow of domestic abuse, securing them neighborhood funding and helping them fall in love with learning to get top grades.
Honestly, our MC never expected her quiet actions to seem so heroic to everyone else. She figured if they could just hold out until Nangong Li's mom rescued her, everything would be fine.
But back then, our MC had no idea how insane things were about to get. One night, deep in the absolute silence of the early hours, the brutal sounds of a beating shattered the peace, and a nearby neighbor, Auntie Wang, started screaming. She screamed for Nangong Ping to stop, warning that he was going to beat his own daughter to death. By the time neighbors threw on clothes and rushed over, Nangong Li was tied up, hanging from the ceiling beam. Her head hung limp, completely unconscious. Seriously, what kind of father does this? Nangong Ping is an absolute monster. It was freezing cold, and she was just a young girl. A 10-year-old girl left hanging there in the freezing cold. The sheer despair of being tortured by her own father when she finally blacked out. She probably thought death was her only escape. Luckily, several uncles quickly and carefully got her down. Our MC rushed over, wrapping her own heavy pajamas around her. The poor girl was ice cold. Her pale skin was absolutely covered in a horrific mix of fresh cuts and old scars. The MC knew she would survive, but man, this scene was low-key heartbreaking. Her chest literally ached for her. It was already the 28th day of the final lunar month. New Year was only 2 days away, a time when other kids were getting spoiled at home. Even if they misbehaved, parents would let it slide just because of the holidays. But for Nangong Li, right before the biggest holiday of the year, she was beaten black and blue by her own flesh and blood, then rushed to the hospital. 2 broken ribs, a fractured shin bone, dislocated wrists, and minor internal bleeding. Seriously, Nangong Ping is a subhuman piece of trash. But here is the sad part. Nobody came to the hospital to look after Nangong Li. Her father had no relatives around, giving her that classic tragic female lead backstory. The MC's grandfather mentioned that some neighbors pooled money together, and a kind lady, Auntie Shen. She was in town helping her daughter-in-law, so she stopped by to bring Nangong Li food. When RNC visited her on New Year's Eve, the poor kid was just sitting there blankly. She looked like an empty shell without a soul, making the MC's chest tighten in pain.
She walked up and gently called her name. Nangong Li looked up with those trademark cold, sharp eyes. Our MC pulled her into a soft hug, whispering that everything was okay now and things would get better. But she couldn't even leave the hospital for the holidays. So the MC bought her new clothes, shoes, snacks, and even packed a lucky red envelope for her. The kid stared blankly, whispering a quiet thank you. Soon after, Nangong Li was finally rescued by her mother.
Getting away from his toxic dad to start fresh is a massive win.
He silently hopes that when they meet again, she has finally found her own happiness.
Fast forward to the new semester. Same old boring opening ceremony.
Under the blazing hot sun, the new freshmen are sitting straight as arrows. Their faces are drenched in sweat, but they are still buzzing with pure excitement. Meanwhile, the upperclassmen look completely drained, like sad, wilted vegetables that got absolutely cooked in the sun. They look completely half-dead, miserable, and totally annoyed with this whole hot mess. Our guy and his roommates are standing there cursing the absolutely brutal heat. They are cursing the leaders for forcing everyone out at 9 a.m. and banning umbrellas in this heat.
Suddenly, a refreshing voice comes over the microphone. "Hello, everyone. I am the freshman representative Nangong Li."
Hearing that name makes our guy's brain completely freeze.
No shot. He whips his head toward the stage in absolute shock.
There she is, standing in a white dress, literally glowing under the sunlight.
Wait, this is wild. Is she not supposed to be at Jingbei with the male lead? This is Kunan University, and since he is a junior, shouldn't she still be in high school? Is it just a shared name? No way, it is definitely Nangong Li. He has seen her photos being passed around his classroom and dorm way too many times. Between all the viral videos and campus gossip, the girl has grown incredibly beautiful. Every single smile of hers is gentle, and she carries herself with pure elegance. But her eyes are still cold, holding that deep, quiet chill he remembers. It is like she hid all of her old darkness behind this quiet and peaceful exterior. But you just know that dark side is hiding there, and yet the guys are already simping hard. Fan pages are popping up all over the school forums with endless photos, videos, and even fan fiction. Listening to his roommates hype her up, our guy suddenly realizes something major. Nangong Li has officially returned, and she is totally reclaiming her main character status.
She is under the spotlight now, shining like a bright moon in the night sky.
Cold as frost, out of reach for everyone. But here is the catch. She does not seem to recognize him. When they literally cross paths at the cafeteria, he is stressing over whether to say hello. But she walks right past him without even looking, making him instantly sigh in relief. He lets go of all his anxiety. Honestly, they only shared a few leftover meals in the past. She only tutored with him for a short time, so why would she even remember him? He was totally overthinking it. So later, after he finishes hosting the welcome party, he walks right past her as she goes up to perform, keeping his eyes forward. Thanks to an absolute masterclass of a piano performance, Nangong Li is now famous campus-wide. Our guy honestly thought that acting like total strangers was going to be their final ending. But then, his dorm leader sets up a joint mixer with the girls' dorm. The guys dress up thinking they look built different and head over to the buffet. But when they arrive at the restaurant, our guy stops dead in his tracks. It is literally Nangong Li. His roommates immediately tease him, asking if he's hypnotized. He just shakes his head while they brag about how hard they work to invite the goddess. When they walk through the door, the girls look up and spot them. Surprise flashes in their eyes, and Nangong Li gives them a quick, casual glance. She just looks down with zero emotion, showing absolutely no reaction when she sees him. To her, he is probably just a total stranger, which is honestly perfectly fine with him. That kid Zhou Tao immediately stands right across from Nangong Li, introducing himself. He then introduces his roommates Wang Chengyu, Nie Qingci, and Liu Yi. Meanwhile, our main character Nan Pei finds himself facing a timid, long-haired girl. The rest of the guys line up too, facing a group of girls with totally different vibes. They are all incredibly gorgeous, but Nangong Li easily stands out the most. Nan Pei sneaks a glance at Nangong Li, expecting her to react to his arrival. He expects a shift when she hears his name, but she stays completely calm.
Since there is no reaction, he shrugs it off and focuses on the girl in front of him.
Seeing his gaze, she blushes and smiles, and he returns a warm, gentle grin. Suddenly, there is a loud crash. The cup right in front of Nangong Li knocks over.
Water spills all over the table, making the nearby guys scramble to grab handfuls of tissues. They rush to help her clean up, and Zhao Tao asks if her clothes got wet. Nangong Li just shakes her head, but her gaze drifts over and locks right onto Nanpei. He simply nods back and averts his eyes while they clean up the minor accident. Once things settle, the girls start introducing themselves, pointing out Nangong Li first. The shy girl introduces herself as Yu Yan, and everyone shakes hands to sit down. Suddenly, Nanpei's phone vibrates. Wang Chengyu is group chatting Zhou Tao, begging to swap seats.
He texts that Zhou Tao can't handle her anyway, so he should let Liu Yi try.
Soon, the other roommates join the chat, arguing over who gets to take the spot. Nanpei silences his phone to use the restroom, but returns to find Nangong Li sitting opposite him. He stares at Nangong Li, then looks around at his roommates in utter disbelief. What the hell? These absolute animals actually went ahead and shamelessly swapped seats behind his back. He focuses on Nangong Li right across from him, who is quietly eating with her head down. Her thick bangs cover her forehead, perfectly framing her long, dense eyelashes. As they flutter like butterfly wings, she gives off this incredibly innocent, obedient vibe. Seriously, she radiates pure good girl energy, which feels totally off to him. Just a minute ago, she was this cold, unapproachable ice queen, but now she looks like a gentle puppy. He wonders if this girl spent the last 10 years mastering the art of theatrical face changing. At this point, there is no shot she is actually sweet. She must be plotting something.
Saying nothing, Nanpei decides to just keep his head down and focus on eating.
Suddenly, his phone buzzes again. It is Li Yi tagging him this time. The text says that the girl has been staring at him, looking more and more upset. Her eyes are literally turning red, so he needs to at least look up at her. They call him a total scumbag and tell him to speak, so Nanpei finally lifts his head. The moment he looks up, she buries her face even lower, hiding everything but her cute nose. But her nose is slightly red, looking exactly like she has been crying. Her eyes are visibly watering, making her look like a totally abandoned, heartbroken puppy. This actually catches Nanpei off guard. Like, is she acting or what? This is definitely not the Nangong Li he knows. Back when they were kids, she was fierce and cold, always bottling up her tears with pure stubbornness.
She used to have this fierce pride, so he figures the original main character must have trained her well.
Now she is acting like this completely gentle, innocent, and helpless heroine. But Nanpei reminds himself of his role as the disposable side character, so he keeps eating. He decides to play the cold-hearted villain role, staying far away from her to secure his own future. As soon as dinner ends, he waves goodbye to slip away, but Nangong Li suddenly steps forward. Her eyes are filled with a fragile, cautious hope as she looks at him. But his intentions are dead obvious. He is clearly trying to get close to our main character. But is it just because of their friendship from 10 years ago? Or is it something else? Or maybe because of how they met today? Either way, our guy decides to shut it down. He bails, claiming he has homework to do, which totally ruins the movie plans for everyone.
On the way back, Zhou Tao asks if he really has zero feelings for that cute junior.
Our boy does not even turn his head, just giving him a massive side eye. He asks if Zhou Tao thinks he is as desperate as him, making his friend call him totally high and mighty. Zhou Tao mocks him, saying he is just a beloved older brother type who collects cute siblings. Basically, Zhou Tao is just salty, and as our lead prepares to clap back, something happens. His phone buzzed with a friend request saying, "I am Nangong Li," with a mountain profile picture. It looks like a traditional ink wash painting, with dark, heavy mountains on one side. The other half is a faded sky, and honestly, the view looks strangely familiar to him. He cannot place where he saw it before, and seeing the nickname Li, he hesitates to accept. But Zhou Tao holds him down while Wang Chengyu literally swipes the screen and accepts the request for him. The roommates yell that they will not let him miss out on being a player like this. He sarcastically thanks them, and they just tell him not to mention it. Later, Zhou Tao asks how far things have gone, but our main character claims they have not even talked. He refuses to play along, though they actually did exchange a couple of words. It was just a brief chat where Nangong Li asked what his big brother was doing.
Our guy replied that he was going to sleep, but Nangong Li offered to treat him to boba. The savage reply? He claims he is on a diet. Nangong Li asks if he is hated, but our lead just hits him with, "In class, do not disturb." When asked if he wants to play games, the answer is still, "Doing homework, do not disturb." This is wild because a few days later, Zhou Tao suddenly blasts him in the group chat as a total playboy. He yells that the poor junior is literally crying in his dorm because of these cold replies. Our main character is completely lost and asks how on earth Zhou Tao even knows that. In response, his friend drops a picture in the chat of Nangong Li holding his phone. He is leaning sadly against the bed frame with his head slumped down. His eyebrows are furrowed and his eyes look incredibly red. Tears are literally welling up in his eyes and his nose is completely flushed. Pouting like that makes him look so incredibly miserable and mistreated. Seeing this totally stuns our lead, making him wonder if this is real. Did Nangong Li actually look that heartbroken over some texts, or did someone literally possess his body? He starts questioning if he transmigrated into the wrong novel, because this cannot be the same guy. While he is spacing out, Wang Chengyu tags him, calling him a heartless beast. The roommates demand that he call Nangong Li right now and apologize. They explain that every time poor Nangong Li musters the courage to text, he waits so expectantly. But then he gets completely shut down, leaving him visibly deflated and depressed. He ends up looking so sad and ready to cry, even though he is literally being an angel. Getting blasted like this by his own friends completely gives our main character a headache. Under intense peer pressure, he finally grits his teeth and replies to the message asking him out for a walk. He texts back that he's busy watching a show, staying extremely consistent with his cold attitude. Talk about having a heart of stone. This version of Nangong Li is way too unpredictable, and he feels like the dude might snap at any second. But just as he is trying to keep his distance, Zhou Tao and the boys invite them all out for barbecue. When Wuhan arrives, he's shocked to find Nangong Li there, sitting so timidly on a chair. The second she spots him, she panics, stands right up, and softly calls him brother. She purses her lips and looks down at the ground, completely silent. Meanwhile, Zhou Tao keeps pushing him, but Wuhan is sweating because she's the female lead destined to throw him in prison. Sure, he did not bully her when they were kids and actually took good care of her. But who knows if she remembers his kindness or holds a grudge? Talk about a stressful situation. He knows he shouldn't be fooled by her innocent act, but honestly, he still cannot help but soften up. The moment Wuhan sits next to her, her eyes instantly light up with pure joy. Then her eyes start turning red as tears slowly pool and threaten to fall. She stares at him with those watery eyes, giving him an absolute gut punch to the heart. He shivers as she softly asks what she did wrong, begging him to look at her. No lie, that soft, pitiful voice of hers is an absolute critical hit. She promises to behave and begs him not to ignore her anymore. Those misty, innocent eyes stare right at him, practically begging for mercy. With her begging like that, can you really blame our boy for softening up? Fast forward to a totally normal day, right after class is let out. Nangong Li suddenly pops up, standing right outside the classroom door. She looks incredibly nervous as she searches for Wuhan, who is sitting right near the entrance. Calling out for her brother Qingci, she tightly grips her skirt with both hands. She stands there perfectly straight, her soft hair framing her face. With bangs lightly covering her forehead, she looks up at him with hope. Looking down and then back up, she is clearly incredibly anxious. Honestly, she is so cute it hurts, and the busy classroom suddenly feels completely still. With everyone staring enviously, Wuhan finally steps out and walks right up to her. The girl's eyes visibly light up like stars, and even Wuhan has to admit she is adorable. But keeping his cool, he gently grabs her sleeve to guide her away. He takes her into an empty classroom next door, asking if something is wrong. She hangs her head, nervously shuffling her feet, and whispers for her brother. It is her birthday today, and she looks up with eyes full of hope. She asks if he can celebrate with her, and man, his soft heart is really a weakness. Giving in once means giving in every single time, which is a dangerous habit. So Wuhan quickly whips out his phone, sends her $280, and tells her to buy a cake.
He tells her he has class to attend, then hardens his heart and heads back inside.
But the moment he sits down, Wang Chengyu lands a solid elbow right into his side. His stomach hurts as his friend calls him an absolute heartless beast. Then Zhou Tao grabs Wuhan's face, forcing him to look out at the door. He points out that the poor girl's eyes are red, asking what he did to her. Before he can explain, Liu Yui packs up Wuhan's things and tosses the bag over his neck. His friends literally push him out the door, telling him to go comfort the goddess.
Wuhan finds himself back in front of Nangong Li, trying hard to calm his chaotic mind.
He fixes his hair and adjusts his bag to look a bit more presentable.
She says it is okay if he cannot make it, since she's used to spending birthdays alone. Well, since his friends locked him out anyway, Wuhan just sighs and walks ahead.
He asks her how she wants to celebrate, but she immediately worries if she made him mad.
He says no, but then she asks to hold hands, wondering if that is what couples do.
Nie Qingci is completely frozen. What boyfriend? Is this girl out of her mind? Did she get brain damage during those 10 years? She actually reaches for his hand. He takes a sharp step back. Whoa, hold on, we are just normal friends, okay?
She tilts her head, looking completely innocent. Aren't you a guy, big brother? Since you're a boy, you're a boyfriend. Unbelievable. He can only force a painful laugh.
After that, it is carousel, cotton candy, the dizzy spinning ride, and ice cream.
Then the Ferris wheel. His old bones are aching when they finally exit the cab. A 4-star hotel stands right in front of them. His head is about to explode.
Trembling, hoping he just has a dirty mind, he stammers out a question.
What is this supposed to mean? He asks, but Nangong Li just turns around.
She looks down shyly. The internet says you can do this once you turn 18. Biting her lower lip, she throws a timid, blushing glance at him.
Total panic. He turns on his heel and bolts straight back into the taxi.
Go, 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 he screams at the driver, who immediately floors the pedal. The car shoots forward. Run for your life. Seriously, just run. Safe in his seat, he types out a dead serious message to Nangong Li.
You are still too young. Focus on your studies. That is what matters.
Do not rush into dating. I am just your senior classmate, just a senior.
If you cannot keep these boundaries straight, we should stop talking completely.
The moment it sends, his screen lights up with a video call. Zero chill.
She was clearly waiting, hands shaking. He rejects the call and kills his phone. That one tiny action has his heart hammering like he just ran a 3-kilometer sprint.
Terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Eventually, he drifts off into a heavy sleep. Even in his dreams, he is rescuing a dizzy, spinning girl on that amusement ride. Nangong Li wraps her arms around his neck, whispering with a cold smile that he cannot run.
He snaps awake, gasping for air. Wow, that nightmare almost stopped his heart. Still catching his breath, he looks down and meets Wang Chengyu's deeply judging stare.
Before he can ask what's wrong, Zhang Shaoqian asks him a heavy question. What did you say to Nangong Li last night to make her cry under her blanket?
Wait, she cried? The roommates instantly crowd around, demanding details on the heartbreak.
Li Yu leans over, while Zhou Tao sits on the opposite bed, smirking. They tease Nie Qingci for being a heartless lady killer as he boots up his phone.
Instantly, texts flood in from Nangong Li, apologizing for putting him in a tough spot.
She says she knows he hates her and that she was annoying for pushing herself on him. But she really, truly likes him and begs him not to ignore her. Are you really ignoring me? He can basically picture her sniffing and crying. Sobbing while staring at her screen? Honestly, he feels like an absolute monster. He cracks and replies that he was just sleeping, then immediately slaps his own hand. Why did you type that? He absolutely hates his own weak fingers right now.
Li Yui quietly points out that he can still unsend it.
Too late.
He wonders if he was possessed, but then she texts back, offering him breakfast.
That completely wakes him up. He stares at the screen, lost in a daze. So much for listening to him. She is definitely not acting like a normal junior. He tells them he is skipping the morning lecture, but Zhou Tao just smirks mockingly. Go to class or we drag you there. His roommates silently give each other the thumbs up. Rushing downstairs, the MC sees this insanely gorgeous girl in white under the ginkgo tree. But then he walks over with wide strides, smiling all bright and sunny. Honestly, it feels like nothing in the world could make him happier. Besides bringing breakfast, he even tags along to classes when he's free.
He reserves library seats and randomly orders milk tea or spicy hot pot.
The roommates keep praising this sweet junior, leaving our guy totally speechless. He even invites him to walk around the track and watch club shows. They go catch movies and even watch the freshman basketball games together. No shot! This kid is completely ignoring the boundaries of normal classmates. When questioned, he just looks innocent and whines in this pitiful voice. Did I do something wrong? Can't a junior invite her senior to a movie? Is walking not allowed either? We aren't even holding hands.
So the junior is innocent and the senior is just being too demanding?
Anyway, his group dance practice for the festival runs super late tonight. He asks for a ride, and since he's dressed like a girl, it feels unsafe.
When he arrives, Nangong Li is standing by the door in a black dress.
He is quietly staring at a wall painting under the dim lights. At first glance, seeing all the art student projects lining the wall, the pitch-black dance studio behind him feels like an endless, creeping abyss.
Like a monster with its mouth wide open, ready to swallow him. Or maybe he's the master of this monster, waiting for his prey to bite.
Sensing the gaze, he turns around and locks eyes with him instantly. That sharp, icy stare makes the MC's heart skip a beat. But then his eyes curve, blooming into this warm, gentle smile. He looks completely innocent, softly calling out, "Brother!" It's sweet yet chilling, sending a cold shiver straight up his spine. The coldness wraps around his chest, making his heart suddenly shudder. After waving goodbye to the other dancers, they head downstairs together. First, he pulls out a rose from behind a flower pot, then milk tea from a sculpture, and then sweets from behind a vase. The studio is on the 3rd floor. The stairwell walls are lined with green plants and sculptures embedded in the brick. It creates a unique scenery, enhanced by the play of light and shadow. Each plant and artwork stands out as a beautiful, separate sight. Together, they blend into a different kind of beauty he first saw years ago. It was breathtaking then, but after 3 years, he is totally used to it. But today, every niche holds a sweet surprise. Reaching the final niche on the 1st floor, his heart starts pounding hard. He holds his breath. And remember, our MC is a grown man here. Yet here he is, actually excited for this kid's surprise. It is low-key embarrassing, but thrilling to feel so cherished and cared for. Nangong Li reaches his hand inside. He pulls out a red velvet box and the MC's head instantly clears up. No way, he is only 18 and the proposal should be mine! The box opens and inside lies a simple hand-woven red string, with 2 red jade beads, making the MC want to facepalm for overthinking. Happy birthday, bro! To Chase Yan, little Joe Tao organized a group movie night. He's totally doomed. Just the thought of watching a romance film with Nangong Li has his heart racing. Honestly, he's actually a little excited and low-key blushing. The theater is pitch black, with only the dim glow from the screen flickering over them, casting dancing shadows. And to make sure they do not distract each other, they deliberately book seats miles apart. Thank goodness the theater is practically empty. From where Qingci is sitting, he can easily spot Wang Chengyu on his left and Zhou Tao on his right. Suddenly, she grabs his hand, whispering, "Brother, why aren't you talking to me?" He pulls his hand back instantly, but she just pouts, her eyes sparkling like water in the dark. Look at those puppy dog eyes! He literally gasps at how adorable she is. She looks so incredibly soft and innocent as she asks, "Brother, when are you going to let me be your girlfriend?" Flustered, he gulps nervously and tells her, "You are great, really. But you're still too young, only 18. That is when she suddenly leans in. A flash of mischief gleams in her eyes, her warm breath brushing right against his ear, sending shivers down his spine. He leaps up from his seat instantly. Popcorn spills everywhere, and she just looks up at him completely unbothered. Her eyes are bright in the dim light, looking up at him with pure, undivided devotion. "Hey, you're blocking the screen!" a complaining voice yells from the row behind them. He quickly slides into an empty seat nearby, pretending to stare intensely at the movie. Man, Nangong Li has changed so much. She's no longer that gloomy, defensive little kid.
And honestly, he has changed too. He's definitely not as innocent anymore. Then she whispers, "Brother, lift your foot." Hearing her voice so incredibly close makes his heart skip a beat. He pulls his feet back reflexively and looks down to find her crouching on the floor. She is gathering up the spilled popcorn, carefully holding the hem of her long skirt. With his shirt hem stuffed full, our guy suddenly remembers the second New Year's Eve of his childhood. Back when everyone went door to door for treats, he always stuffed his own share into his friends' pockets. While wishing him a happy new year, the other boy would just clutch his clothes tight like this. And for once, he would flash a rare, blinding smile. Too bad they never got a third New Year's Eve. Seeing him on that hospital bed still hurts. He quietly squats down to help. He softens up every single time. Not gonna lie, Nangong Li's sweet smile is too powerful. His eyes curve like crescents as he sweetly says, "Brother, you are so good." That is one smooth compliment, so our guy just flusteredly replies, "You are great too." Returning to his dorm, our guy finds a random red velvet box in his bag. Tucked inside is a small note written in incredibly sharp and elegant handwriting. "Hey, brother, do these two red beads look like red beans? Do you know how deeply I miss you?" A massive wave of heat rushes to his head. Look at him blushing. This is too cute. He slowly opens it. Inside are two glowing red ear studs, but then someone yells, "What is that in your hand?" His roommates Wang Cheng and Jahu sneak up, making him snap the box shut immediately. He claims it is nothing, but the guys swarm him to steal it, so he quickly hides the note. Playful teasing follows, but he can easily handle it. Later, Nangong Li sits with him in class and ends up pulling a love letter from his textbook. He is completely blindsided as Nangong Li pinches a thin envelope between his fingers. There is a bright red heart drawn on the envelope with the name Qingci written right across. Nangong Li asks what this is, his voice trembling. His deep, soft voice breaks, red-eyed. He looks hopeful yet completely broken, begging our MC to lie to him. Completely defenseless and fragile. Honestly, a simple love letter shouldn't warrant this end-of-the-world reaction. Like, why the drama? Our MC asks what the number 9 means. Lu Yi whispers that it's the 9th letter. The 9th letter from the department's top girl. Our MC pokes him to shut up. "Did you read all of them?" Nangong Li's voice drops. Dead silent. They read them all. Absolute chaos. These two friends are making things 10 times worse. Nangong Li lets out a soft, heartbreaking laugh. Pure agony. His eyes glisten with tears, the edges flushing deep red. At this point, our MC is feeling like the absolute worst person on earth. He's shaking with guilt, needs to explain. But Nangong Li suddenly stands up and walks straight out. The professor even jokes, asking if the kid is leaving his senior early. Even the teacher knows him? He has to step out. The teacher tells him not to worry. Total parent energy. Days pass without a single text. It's like he's completely given up. Without Nangong Li clinging around, our MC feels lost. He feels a massive void. His friends call him a scumbag and tell him to go find Nangong Li. The roommates even clarified the misunderstanding. Our MC isn't even performing, but he randomly puts on the red string. He knows it's pointless. Who's gonna spot one hand in a crowd? He's losing it. But then Nangong Li appears on stage, looking stunning in a camisole and shorts. Hearing all the guys around him whistling, it drives our MC insane. He slips backstage. The second he sees him, our MC throws a coat over him and pushes him into a changing room. Just change first.
Backstage staff kicks him out, so he texts Nangong Li that he's grabbing milk tea.
When he gets back, he sees Nangong Li laughing with another guy. It's the original male lead. Gentle, soft, like the spring sun warming up everyone around him. Later, their advisor mentions an exchange program. A 1-year exchange at Jingbei University. Our MC holds the form, totally torn. He literally slaps himself twice. Still hesitating? The actual male lead is here. Time to drop the delusional hopes. He heads to the library just as Suwan leaves. Suddenly, someone sits right across from him. It's Nangong Li, but the way he says brother this time has zero warmth.
That voice sounded like it was ground out from her teeth, dropping at the end. It is like he is her sworn enemy, but then her eyes instantly clear with a smile.
She mockingly asks if Ye Ruhua is really that popular, wondering if he ever thought about her these past few days.
The MC is low-key terrified. Her sheep mask is gone, revealing a hungry wolf.
She is not even hiding it anymore as she slowly stands up right in front of him.
Grabbing his chin, she makes every single hair on his body stand on end.
This girl is literally built different, whispering that she heard he prefers more obedient girls. Leaning in close, she asks if she is still not obedient enough for him. Why?
Our boy grabs his hand and tells him to let go.
But this guy pinches his earlobe and gives it a gentle tug, completely paralyzing our MC.
He can't even shake him off either, as the guy just grins and reminds him of that free meal.
Then he asks to repay him with his body, but his voice drops with a low-key terrifying growl.
At this point, our MC soul literally leaves his body because, yep, this guy recognized him the entire time.
He remembers telling the kid back then not to play games because JJ doesn't like being messed with. He'd say he'll let him off, and the kid would play along, thanking Gage for sparing his life.
And now the kid wants to repay him with his body?
Our boy definitely needs to calm down.
So when the deadline hits, our MC quickly submits his university application form.
He packs his bags without wasting a single second and heads early to Jingbei University. Back in the day, travel was slow, and seeing someone meant crossing massive mountains and rivers.
But now, if you miss someone, even if one of you is all the way in Huajin and the other is far away, you can still reach them. But if you make enemies in the morning,
Your grave is literally dug by the afternoon, so our boy silently pulls his foot back from the steps.
Because down there is Nangong Li, smiling up at him, making our MC sigh in defeat.
He decides it is time for a proper talk, so they head over to a quiet cafe.
The guy obediently holds our boy's hand, wearing the most innocent and sweet smile ever.
his beautiful eyes sparkle as he looks up, saying, "Long time no see, Gege."
Our boy politely replies, "Long time no see," but then Nangong Li asks if he saw him standing up high.
"Did you see me?" Nangong Li asks, his eyes glistening with deep emotion.
There is this cool, refreshing vibe when he looks at you, like a clear spring flowing over stones.
Our MC stays quiet, only for the guy to ask, "Why didn't you come find me, Gege?"
When he asks her why she even came looking for him, her calm composure cracks just a tiny bit. Like thin ice on a river splitting open, revealing the raw, dark madness boiling just beneath. "Hey, brother, it's been 10 years. Did you ever once think of me?"
Whenever she hits a question she wants to avoid, she just shoots back her own. "Do you hate me?"
"Why did you lie to me? Was it fun watching me get played like an absolute fool?"
"Were you really that happy?" Nangong Li asks, staring intensely at him without even blinking.
She's scanning his face, trying to find something, all the gentle warmth completely gone from her eyes.
They look incredibly sharp. This is honestly his first time seeing this look in a girl's eyes, but then she suddenly smiles again. Her rosy lips part slightly, and those neat white teeth look almost bone-chillingly pale. Like she might pounce and bite him. She tells him, "Brother, I skipped from freshman year to senior year. I fought through everything to get into Jingbei University early, but you weren't even there."
"So I repeated a year just to get here. Talk about wild yandere energy. There's so much to unpack."
But here is the real shocker. How on earth did Nangong Li know Nie Qingci would apply to Jingbei University?
The original host really did go there, but Nangong Li just whines about chasing his beloved brother so hard.
Wait, what kind of chase is he talking about? Is it the literal hunting to kill kind? Our main character is totally on guard, asking what his deal is, but Nangong Li acts completely innocent. He claims he is just repaying him for the free food, which honestly makes Nie Qingci laugh in pure disbelief. Playing mind games while pretending to be an innocent little pup? Is that what he calls repayment? Yeah, because this does not feel like gratitude at all. It feels a lot more like a straight-up vendetta.
Nangong Li tries calling him brother, but Nie Qingci immediately shuts that down, saying he is nobody's brother.
He tells him he cannot afford that title, and just like that, Nangong Li's expression goes completely dark. His face barely changes, but the sudden cold aura around him is actually insane. Talk about final boss energy. It is a freezing, heavy vibe, and his eyes are absolutely bone-chilling.
Nie Qingci tells him to just go home before walking off back to his dorm.
But Nangong Li refuses to leave, stubbornly waiting right outside the school gates in a silent protest. A heavy snowstorm starts rolling in as the sky turns completely pitch black.
It gets freezing cold, and then Nie Qingci spots a post on his social feed.
Someone posted about a devoted girl waiting out in the snow, making Nie Qingci curse his own soft heart.
Honestly, being this soft-hearted is a terminal illness, and he immediately rushes down to the school gates.
And there he is, Nangong Li, practically a living snowman, slowly raising his head. His face is completely flushed from the biting cold, and his lips have turned a deep, bruised blue. Yet he still flashes a victorious smile, whispering that he knew his savior would come. He says his soft-hearted god would never abandon him, but the second Nie Qingci steps closer, Nangong Li slowly stands up, only to collapse directly into his arms. Nie Qingci panics, asking if he is dizzy and offering to take him straight to the hospital. Nangong Li refuses, so our main character quickly books a hotel room online and grabs a cab. The moment the hotel heater kicks in, Nangong Li's face flushes an even deeper shade of red. It looks completely unnatural, so Nie Qingci reaches out to feel his forehead. He is burning up with a massive fever, and Nie Qingci insists on the hospital again. But the kid refuses, crying that he will get abandoned there, so Nie Qingci tells him to just take a hot shower. He promises to go grab some cold medicine, but suddenly Nangong Li grabs his hand tightly. With a heavily stuffed nose, Nangong Li asks if he can still call him brother. His voice is completely drained, and he looks up with the most fragile, cautious eyes.
Nie Qingci just nods helplessly to calm him down, shedding his own heavy down jacket.
He bends down to help Nangong Li remove his soaking wet frozen shoes. The damp leather is practically freezing over, and his socks are completely drenched. His pant cuffs are damp, and his bare feet have turned completely white and icy cold. Touching them actually hurts, and Nie Qingci realizes his feet are severely frostbitten. Using hot water right away would cause terrible chilblains, so he kneels down to rub them warm. As he rubs, he silently curses his own terminal case of being a soft-hearted pushover. He massages the ankles, toes, and soles until they finally turn pink and warm again. He tells him to get in the shower, but Nangong Li has already sat up silently. Suddenly, he lunges forward, cupping his face and kissing him wildly under the warm hotel lights. Okay, the author really cooked here. Nie Qingci snaps out of his shock, quickly rolling over to pin the wild kid down. He locks Nangong Li's wrists in place, but the kid just stares back with intense eyes, calling his name. He confesses his feelings right there, leaving our main character completely stunned and losing his mind. He scrambles backward in pure panic, stammering that he is going out to buy the medicine. Nangong grabs his sleeve. "Will you come back?" His desperate eyes instantly take Nie Qingci back to their childhood, cold, dark, and wild. It is like a poison designed to drag them both down together before he slowly lets go. He looks up with a chilling smile, his eyes frozen, as Nie Qingci steps out. Nangong Li is just sitting there on the cold floor, not moving an inch. Nie Qingci rushes over to help him up as he whispers, "I counted to 1571. He stares right back. "Nie Qingci, if you ever leave me again, I will go crazy." At this point, running away is useless, making him truly face their chaotic connection. If their childhood was built on pure pity, treating him like some fragile little sister, seeing him at the opening ceremony changed everything, crossing into dangerous territory. He hates to admit he is that shallow, but all that soft sympathy, the heartaches, the anger, and the burning jealousy. I mean, he is completely in love with Nangong Li, just like the story's original host. So why not try? Now, enter Nangong Li's POV. Talk about bad luck. His regression begins right as his abusive dad wakes up drunk. Just because there is no hot water, he gets kicked violently to the floor, scraping his knees raw as his head slams hard against the brick wall. He actually regressed. He is completely stunned. He was enjoying the sight of Nie Qingci kneeling and crying before him. Lost in a chaotic daze, his feet guide him right outside Nie Qingci's house. There, he is offered a simple candy by a boy with eyes full of deep worry. It is wild, a tiny sweet wrapped in bright green, translucent paper. He remembers finding one as a kid, only for a third grader to accuse him of stealing. That bully beat him bloody, and his own father finished the job at home. Holding the treat, he realizes this Nie Qingci is completely built different. See, in his past life, most of his trauma was caused by Nie Qingci's cruelty. The guy would target him endlessly and turn others against him. He loved framing him, but ever since Nangong Li smashed a rock over his head, everything shifted. Suddenly, Nie Qingci is carefully picking up a dropped slice of cake. He pinches off the dirty parts and leaves it gently on the brick wall, gesturing for him to take it. Honestly, Nangong Li craved that cake his entire past life. Back then, the old toxic Nie Qingci literally crushed it into the mud out of pure spite. He was never allowed to have it. But spanning across 2 lifetimes, he finally gets to eat that sweet slice. It tastes amazing.
He wishes he had regressed even sooner just to experience this magic earlier.
Nie Qingci starts bringing him meals, even if they are simple leftovers. That first green candy is too precious to eat, so he seals it inside a tiny bottle.
He carries it everywhere, even long after it expires and turns completely black.
Nobody else knows his secret treasure. Nie Qingci is just too good to him. Giving him sweet potatoes, teaching him gardening, and tutoring him, but Nangong Li is secretly pretty cunning.
He purposely bombs his exams just to keep those private tutoring sessions going.
He intentionally writes wrong answers, absolutely loving the sight of Nie Qingci worrying over him. Nie Qingci looked so anxious and furious, even hitting him out of frustration. But this beating was different from his dad's. His dad beat him out of pure disgust.
That was hatred and venting, but Nie Qingci's hits, they came from pure care.
It was disappointment, worry, and desperately wanting him to do better. Since he could remember, nobody gave a damn if he lived or died. So heartbreaking.
But now, having Nie Qingci care for him meant he actually mattered to someone.
That's why he wouldn't let the teacher read his essay. Everyone would find out how amazing Nie Qingci was.
They would try to steal him. When Nie Qingci came back from the city, he brought him poppets, a spinning top, and even a brand new pair of shoes. He even took him door to door for New Year's, but Lily wouldn't let Nie's cousin call him brother. No way. Nie Qingci was his brother, and his alone. But he never got to wear those new shoes, keeping them safely tucked right by his pillow.
Planning to put them on first thing on New Year's Day, but his abusive dad threw them into the stove,
leaving nothing but the terrible stench of burnt plastic and black ashes. This is low-key heartbreaking. The kid didn't dare tell Nie Qingci because he was terrified of making him upset.
His mother was actually a college student tricked into coming to the village. She wanted to stay for her baby. So she named him Lili, wishing he'd stay close to reality and far from wild dreams.
But his dad beat and abused her constantly, so she eventually escaped in secret. His dad was a literal menace who hated boys and wanted to kill every single one in the village.
He even ordered Lily to lure Nie Qingci back to bury him alive, but Lily threw a brick instead.
This time, Lily didn't run. He just wanted to beat his dad to death. To end the nightmare, but he was just too weak. Even while hung up and beaten, he kept kicking his dad, screaming every curse word he knew. He counted all the way to 4,372. Before passing out, he saw Nie Qingci.
He was wearing Spider-Man pajamas, his face twisted with absolute panic and rage.
Then he draped his pajamas over the boy, like a real-life superhero swooping in to save him. A person has many unforgettable moments in life. For this kid, every single one of those moments was because of Nie Qingci. He even came to the hospital on New Year's Eve, bringing new clothes, shoes, and money right until his mother came to take him away. You think they finally reunited? No, Nie Qingci just told him to wait in the hospital, promising to return on the weekend, but he never did. Even after his mother finished the paperwork and Wednesday passed, there was still no sign of him.
And then it hit Lily. To Nie Qingci, he was probably just some random kid. This hurts.
Maybe he needed to become someone completely different before they met again. So he chose to leave. He would find him again once he grew up.
Whenever he missed him too much, he couldn't help but call his old landline.
But the number was completely dead. From then on, he spent years chasing that gap in time.
He skipped grades and got into a top university, but Nie wasn't there. He even attended his abusive dad's funeral.
He went just to ask old neighbors where they went, learning the family had moved to the city. He also found out Nie was struggling, standing by the old low wall of Nie's house. He took a picture of the exact spot where Nie used to hide candy. Half sky, half mountains. Humans are driven by absolute obsessions. Like a birthday cake you never got as a kid, or a stray piece of candy. And that one person who was your entire salvation, the only way to heal is to have them.
Nie Qingci, I am going to find you, no matter what.